SunsRank, the final round of voting, finding value in the margins. Every NBA roster is a story told in layers. The stars dominate the headlines. The starters carry the weight. The rotation guys build the bridge between nights when shots fall and nights when defense has to save the day. But then there's the bottom tier, the players who live in basketball purgatory. They are close enough to taste the stage yet too far to seize it consistently. In SunsRank terms, we call this Tier 4, depth pieces, the best of the rest. It's easy to ignore them, but that's a mistake. History has shown time and again that seasons bend because of the players nobody expected. For every LeBron James, there's a Matthew Dellavedova diving on the floor in the finals. For every Stephen Curry, there's a Gary Payton two-hounding an opposing guard. For every Devin Booker, there might be a Cameron Payne stepping into the spotlight when Chris Paul's hamstring gives out. So here we are, the conclusion of SunsRank. After 3 rounds of voting, through 3 tiers of pillars, wild cards, and glue guys, the foundation of the Suns' 2025 preseason roster is clear. But the basement is where intrigue lives. Because the truth is simple, the margins matter. Why depth pieces exist. The NBA season is long. 82 games, cross-country travel, back-to-backs, nagging injuries, lineup experimentation, and the ever-looming possibility of trades. No team, not even the healthiest, gets through a season untouched. That's why Tier 4 players are vital. They are insurance policies. They soak up minutes in practices, scout team reps, and garbage time. More importantly, they keep teams afloat when chaos strikes. The paradox: most of them won't see the floor. And yet, without them, a roster collapses under the weight of attrition. Fans don't always appreciate this. To the outside eye, they are wasted roster spots. To coaches, they are peace of mind. To front offices, they are lottery tickets with low odds but high reward potential. C.J. Huntley Clay waiting for the sculptor. Let's begin alphabetically with C.J. Huntley, the rookie two-way out of Appalachian State. Two-way contracts are a curious invention. They are equal parts lifeline and leash. They give young players like Huntley a foothold in the NBA but also remind them they are expendable. Huntley steps into the very slot Jalen Bridges occupied last season, a developmental project, tucked away in the G League most nights, waiting for a call-up that may or may not come. At 6'11", Huntley brings intriguing physical tools, length, mobility, flashes of rim protection, and a jumper that looks promising when unhurried. But raw is raw. NBA big men face a steep curve. The league eats the unready alive. Phoenix has the infrastructure to help. Their G League affiliate in northern Arizona has proven to be a strong incubator. The question is whether the organization, so focused on its win-now window, can afford the patience. Last year, Bridges was cut loose after a season. Will Huntley get more time? The beauty of Tier 4 is that Huntley doesn't need to be ready today. If, a year or two from now, he blooms into a rim-protecting stretch big, this two-way deal will look like highway robbery. If not, he's just another name on the long list of developmental swings that never quite stuck. Isaiah Livers a case study in maybe. If Huntley represents potential, Isaiah Livers embodies the gray zone between proven and projection. 3 seasons in Detroit tell us this. Livers can play. 94 games, 33 starts, a respectable 3-point clip, 35.8% on decent volume, and the ability to toggle between forward spots. Coaches trusted him enough to start. Front offices kept him long enough to suggest belief. And yet, here he is, slotted as a depth piece. Why? Because sometimes the NBA gives you opportunity, and opportunity reveals exactly who you are. The optimist says Livers just needs health and stability. Detroit's revolving door of coaches and lineups didn't do him favors. In Phoenix, surrounded by stars, his job will be simpler: space the floor, guard his yard, don't overcomplicate. The pessimist says we've already seen his ceiling, a low-usage wing who hits threes but doesn't tilt games. The truth probably lies in between. But here's the kicker: in a playoff series, that in-between matters. Every contender needs a role player who can survive 12 minutes without imploding. If Livers can stay on the floor and hit shots, he's not just a depth piece, he's playable, and playable is gold in the postseason. Jared Butler, the late career spark. Jared Butler's story is one of resilience. Once a fringe player bouncing between waivers and 10-day contracts, Butler found new life with the Philadelphia 76ers last season. Injuries forced him into real minutes, and he responded with averages of 11.5 points and 4.9 assists in 24.4 minutes across 28 games. That stretch was more than stat padding. It was survival. Butler proved he could run an offense, make decisions under pressure, and keep a team afloat when the roster thinned. Now, in Phoenix, he arrives on a non-guaranteed deal, staring down Jordan Goodwin for the third-string point guard role. To some, that sounds insignificant. To Butler, it's everything. Win the spot, and he's back in the league for another season. Lose it, and he may find himself back on the margins. The Suns must decide what kind of insurance they value, Butler's steadiness, or Goodwin's defensive bite. Training camp may very well determine the answer. Jordan Goodwin, the reliable journeyman. Familiarity is Goodwin's greatest strength. Suns fans know him. Coaches know him. He logged 40 games with Phoenix in 2023-24, then added experience with Memphis and Los Angeles. Goodwin is a fifth-year guard with 154 games and 24 starts to his name. He's not a mystery box, he's a known commodity. He won't light up a scoreboard, but he won't sink a lineup either. Coaches love that predictability. His battle with Butler is more philosophical than statistical. Do the Suns want the scrappy disruptor who changes tempo with defensive pressure? Or do they want the calm hand who keeps the offense organized? In a sense, this micro-decision reflects the macro-decision of roster building: chase upside, or choose stability. Nick Richards' stability in 7 feet. Last but not least, Nick Richards, the 7-footer who started 34 games for Phoenix last season. Consensus has placed him in Tier 4, and that says a lot about expectations. Richards is good enough to start but not dynamic enough to excite. His ceiling is visible. His floor is steady, and that's the thing, every team needs at least one big man like Richards. If Mark Williams tweaks an ankle or foul trouble piles up, Richards is the break glass in case of emergency option who won't flinch. His role is not to surprise, it's to stabilize. In some ways, that makes him the purest definition of a Tier 4 player. Reliable, necessary, forgettable until suddenly indispensable. Depth pieces that changed history. It's easy to shrug at Tier 4, but history is littered with counterexamples. Robert Horry was a role player until he hit championship-defining threes. Derek Fisher was once a backup point guard before his late-game heroics became Laker legend. Gary Neal hit shots for the Spurs when stars faltered. Gary Payton too revived his career as a defensive pest in Golden State. Even the Suns have their own examples, Cameron Payne stepping up in the 2021 finals run when Chris Paul's body failed him. Depth pieces rarely define seasons, but when they do, the impact echoes for years. The psychology of Tier 4. What's it like to be one of these players? You live in constant limbo. Too good for the G League, not good enough to guarantee minutes. Every practice is an audition. Every garbage time minute is a resume update. You pack for every road trip knowing you might not play. You watch from the bench, cheer your teammates, and wait for the one moment when your number is called. And when it comes, you can't afford to fail. That mental grind is part of why many Tier 4 players fade. Not everyone can sustain motivation without reward. The ones who survive, they have ironclad patience. They believe opportunity will come, even if it never does. Scenarios where Tier 4 matters for the Suns. Injury chaos: if a starter goes down, can Livers or Goodwin step up? Back-to-back fatigue: will Richards stabilize minutes when the stars rest? Developmental lottery: could Huntley show flashes that force Phoenix to reconsider his ceiling? Playoff matchups: imagine Butler stabilizing a shaky second unit in a Game 3 on the road. It sounds small until it's not. The vote. And now, it's your turn. Who's the most valuable depth piece? Who among Huntley, Livers, Butler, Goodwin, and Richards deserves recognition as the Suns' Tier 4 MVP heading into 2025-26? This final vote will close SunsRank preseason, but it won't close the story, because when the season ends, we'll revisit. We'll see who mattered, who surprised, and who faded. That's the beauty of SunsRank. It's not just a ranking, it's a conversation, one that stretches from preseason speculation to postseason truth. Cast your vote, watch the season unfold, and remember, in the NBA, even the margins matter.